What will you or your party do if you are elected to support community initiatives that increase black career and educational achievement?
Could we?
Well,
in this case, one is using the word black to mean racial minority, or
racial minority.
Okay. Could I ask Tim as a starting position, please?
Yeah. What I'd like to do is I'd like to support more social enterprise for all different kinds of people, from young through to adult, to be educated in a way that is not just, as Avtar was saying earlier, it's not just the typical kind of education system that we know, the typical academic subjects. I know a really good, a really great company locally called Seed Creativity, and what they do is they empower disadvantaged youths from all backgrounds through education in the creative arts. So what they do is they get all different kinds of people in, and then they'll tell them about the various different things that that they can do to pursue a field in journalism or in painting or in illustrating or whatever. So I'd like to encourage more companies and social enterprises like that in the local community, because I think that that's a really important thing. It's important to be able to empower people to actually take control and actually do what it is that they really love to do. And I think that more organisations like that, and with the council's support as well.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Adrian.
I think that's a really important question, and I think we can tie it back to the previous question as well, which I didn't get the opportunity to answer, but we were asked what we were going to do for black and minority groups, and what we're going to do for education in black groups. And I think it's what we have to do. We have to try and forget that some people are black, some people are white, some people are brown, some people are gay, some people are straight. We have to treat everybody exactly the same and give everybody the same opportunities. So I certainly wouldn't want to set up a black college. I'd like to set up another college where everybody can work together. And I wouldn't want to be looking at separating groups and saying we're doing this for the black community. I'd like to be able to say we're doing this for the community and for everybody in the community. So I wish we could get, I realise it's a long time in the future, but at some point in the future we've got to all become colourblind. I was talking to a young kid, and he was trying to point out a friend, and his friend was at the other side of the playground. And I said, well, which one is it? Which one's your friend? And he said, the guy in the blue blazer. You must be able to see him, the guy in the blue blazer. He was the only black guy that was standing there. But this young lad didn't say the black guy, he said the guy in the blue blazer. And if we could take that lesson, and we could all become a bit more colourblind and not interested in people's colour and more interested in people, I think that would be the way forward.
That's Adrian Paul.
I'd like to try and answer this question from the situation you feel now. And that ideal of colourblindness, I know, does not exist at currently. So that then leads to the question, what are you going to do about it? This might sound a little bit, I'm going to say the word, it might sound a little bit cheap this, but what somebody said earlier on the panel, if we don't know, I don't have a black experience. I have my experience in Scotland, whatever that has been, you can ask me later. But if we can get into the open and whistleblowing when anyone feels that they have been discriminated against. But I also know that in large organisations, and I'll name the organisation, oh, my friend won't kill me for this, the Church of England. And I won't go into more detail, but discrimination and victimisation is found everywhere. So then it comes to what we're going to do about it. I think this is complex. I'm going to say one thing, and it's not going to help perhaps people who are in their 20s and 30s, but certainly a child's education, upbringing, and home characterises their own self-worth and how they will treat others. And it's through family and school that people are formed. If later in life, and you're feeling that discrimination, then we need to get that into the open. And as mayor, I would like to seek and work with, there's lots of community groups represented here, and I think I need to work with you to identify already places where you know that discrimination is taking place, and get that into the open.
Thanks. After?
But I think there's a limit to what government can do in terms of helping BMEs in this way. There's already existing legislation, the Race Relations Act, that is supposed to enforce equality. Now we need to find ways to enforce it. And Tim had a good idea earlier when he said any job applications for a council should have the names removed, so that people who are looking at those forms can't make judgments. And I'm happy to pinch any ideas I hear today or anywhere else, if that makes sense. But the government can't legislate for people's prejudices. So if you go to a private company and ask them for a job, and your name says Avtar Singh, how can the government stop that person denying me a job just because of my name or the colour of my skin? The council can, as Tim said, the council can change applications so the name doesn't appear, try and prevent prejudice in that way. But you have to be honest and say there's limits to what we can do. The mayor has no magic wand, there's no easy solutions. What we have to concentrate on as a council, as a government, is education and jobs. If you can give education, a good education to kids and to adults, we all know that now that there's no jobs for life, so you have to have ongoing, you can have ongoing education and create jobs in Leicester. I think that's as much as the mayor or the council or the government can do.
Okay, thanks, After. Peter?
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up the phrase that Adrian used a couple of times about being colourblind. And I'm really not having a go at him because I think it was well meant in the way he described it, in the way in which he put it. But I have heard it used so often over so many years as an excuse for not combating the reality of discrimination. And I'm not suggesting you're doing that, Adrian, I'm really genuinely not. I know that's such your attitude, but I have heard it used in that way. And actually, the fact is that the world isn't colourblind. And authority often is not colourblind, and employers are often not colourblind. It is a reality. And I would also suggest, Adrian, that actually it is relevant to be interested in people's background and their culture, and where they come from and what they are, and value it, and celebrate it. And there is real discrimination, there is real disadvantage, but it is different for different groups, for different individuals, for women often, it is different. And I think actually understanding and seeing the reality of the person in front of you is pretty important, and actually noticing that they have perhaps a different skill tone, perhaps a different culture, is an important part of actually realising the person they are and the disadvantage that they're likely to have suffered as a result of it.
Okay, we're going to move on to another subject quickly, but before we do that, I just need to share with the audience that we do have in legislation the Equality Act, against which individuals can take action if they believe they've been discriminated against, irrespective of whether it's race, religion, faith, gender. But we do have the Equality Act because it's actually been brought in, which has made the Race Relations Amendment Act redundant.